And welcome inside, not just Good Morning Delaware, but another show here on DETV. DETV Sports, we are back on a Tuesday here. Apologize for the delay getting going. Some pre-production stuff here ahead of tonight's show, but we are back. We are live. Nick Alessandrini, Matthew Maurer, Jason McCall will be back next week. Has some prior endeavors that he is dealing with here tonight. So, Jason, we're looking forward to getting you back next week. But Matthew and I are here to break down, of course, the Sweet 16 MLB Opening Day tomorrow evening. So, a lot to get to there. And, of course,
tomorrow?
So, yeah, tomorrow. The solo game, Netflix game kicking us off. It seems like that's where we are. We get Netflix controls Christmas. They get a lot of the big ones. They're going to have opening day tomorrow night. Just one game. The Yankees and the Giants to kick things off. Phillies opening up on Thursday. And then we'll touch a little bit on a lot of the NFL news that we haven't gotten to in the last few weeks. We now know where a few other players will be playing next year, including Kyler Murray. As we anticipated, he's in Minnesota. So we're going to touch on that. But, of course, we got to get to the Sweet 16. That's where we'll start here in a moment. Matthew, how are we doing? Back on a Tuesday. How you liking Tuesdays nights as opposed to how we were doing a lot of Mondays here in the first couple seasons?
I mean, Monday, Tuesday, don't matter to me. Ready to play. Let's do it.
That's right. Yeah. And that's how it goes. Weekend going well. And now it's time to dive into some NCAA Tournament action. And, of course, I'm not feeling as good as I did a week or two ago. As we have some, that's where we'll start today. Big upset is now not like we saw last year. It took a while to get all number one seeds back into the Final Four last year. And we thought maybe with the NIL and everything going forward, maybe we'd see it again this year. Not the case. Down go the Gators. Number 9, Iowa takes down Clemson in round 1. They then take down University of Florida, the top seed in the South, 4th overall seed in the tournament. They take them down here in round number 2. Ben McCollum, your boy Sturts there from Drake, they're able to get it done. And how about Ben McCollum, again, coming over with Drake, with Bennett Sturts and those guys a year ago. And now making an impact already. Year one with Iowa, I think he's got to go down. That's what stands out to me is the coaching and what he's been able to do since he's got to Iowa. Another big win there. They were going at it, him and Todd Golden, back and forth during that game. But to you now, what stands out about it? I know the national champions, there seems to be some type of national championship hangover that we're seeing. It seems like every time a team wins a national championship, they don't make it out of the round of 32 the following season. It's happened just once. It was Danny Hurley and that team that went back-to-back a few years ago for the first time since the Gators did it in 07-08. So once again, number 1 seed, returning national champion Matthew will not make it into the second weekend of the NCAA Tournament. So I'll ask you this, and we'll dive into the specifics here in a moment. Is the national championship hangover a real thing?
I think so. I mean, I think the biggest problem I had with Florida when I was talking about them, I had them going to the championship game, so I'm not over here trying to spin it. I thought that they had the big men pieces with Condon and Rubin. The issue more at the end of the day was when it came time to get a basket, they didn't have a Walter Clayton. They didn't have that person.
That's what we said, right? Yep.
Yeah, and that was I think we actually said that in the bracket show. That was an issue. I said that's what scares us the most heading in was the guard play isn't what we had with them last year. Correct. Not only did you have maybe the best bucket getter in the country in Walter Clayton last year, they don't have a scoring guard that could really get a good shot when they needed to. As you said, Boogie Flant not the answer to Iowa. I'm interested to see what he does next year, but seemed like turnover after turnover there. Backcourt was not what we thought it was going to be. No.
What we thought it was going to be, and that's the bad thing.
Yeah, the NIL money that they spent to get Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee just was mediocre all year, if we're being honest. And, I mean, look, Xavier Lee, I give him credit for coming from Ivy League and then going to the SEC. I mean, that's a huge jump. I don't care what anybody says. Boogie Flan, I think at this point, he's never going to match the prep highlights and the prestige that came with his name when he first came into the college play 2 years ago. I think he'll probably transfer down. I don't see him staying.
Right, in 3 years?
Yeah, I don't see him staying at Florida. I don't think Florida's going to renew that NIL for him. Shout out to a name from the past, no relation, but Tavion Banks went crazy. I mean, he had 20. You may remember, Tavion Banks, who was running back for Iowa back in the day. I mean, Iowa just had the shot makers and, played really good defense. Yeah. And I was kind of shocked, really, that so much of Florida's offense seemed to sputter. And maybe it was me. I think the coaching staff was frustrated with everything that they saw. I mean, there was a couple, I think mental collapses by the coaching staff. They clearly were no fans of the game and how it played out. But at the end of the day, look, hats off to Iowa. We can make all the excuses for what happened. Iowa came in and they killed the first giant of the tournament. So hats off to them. But, I definitely was shocked.
Yeah, definitely a little bit surprising there. We'll see what they do. And I've actually had a chance to do some of Boogie Flan's games when he was in high school. He did the slam dunk to the tournament here before he was committed to Kentucky, and obviously then to Arkansas, followed Calipari there, et cetera. But yeah, as you mentioned, not quite what we maybe would have imagined for his college career here so far, being one of those top guys coming out. And as Matthew said, maybe looking for a new school here come next year again. That kind of seems to be the theme here with college sports in general. So Iowa is able to advance, and of course, they're now going to head to the next round to take on Nebraska, a team that I didn't have getting there as well. South region, tough for me. Had a great first couple days of the tournament. But Nebraska and Iowa, Fred Hoiberg and his son, what a story that was for him, obviously being there and now being a starter this long into his career and able to make an impact. They've been able to knock down some big shots in this tournament, big-time threes, and they get a win over Vanderbilt, which was one of the teams that was pretty hot coming in, coming off that SEC tournament championship run, losing in the championship to Arkansas, but beating Florida and some of those other big teams on their way there. And what a game that was if you missed it. 74-72, Nebraska gets the win over Vandy. So that sets up an Iowa-Nebraska, almost like a football matchup out there in the Midwest. What are your thoughts? What do you think about Iowa and Nebraska? Can Sturts and company keep this thing going? Two great coaches again in Hoiberg and Ben McCullum, who we just highlighted there. Which way are you leaning in this one, and what are you going to be looking for? Iowa, Nebraska, and then winner most likely will get Houston, but they have a tough matchup as well. Illinois we'll talk about next.
Yeah, I actually had Nebraska losing to Vanderbilt in
that
game. Man, Tyler Tanner from Vanderbilt was amazing.
I can't believe I should have led with that shot. Dennis, if we can find the half-court heave to end the game here in a moment, when you can play that. I think I had it on the highlights we had on Good Morning Delaware the other day. But what a shot. I mean, I was rooting for Vandy just because of the bracket and all that stuff. So watching that game, and when it left his hand, I went, that looks good around. I mean, Gordon Hayward, it was even closer of a shot than Gordon Hayward.
It was.
Man, I thought he hit that. The way the game was going, I thought that was going to be the way it ended.
Yeah, I mean, it was so close, razor thin. But I'm going to go with Iowa. I think they have the better individual players. Nebraska's more of a team. But if I would to say there anybody that probably is the guy would be was it Bryce Panford? Sanford, yeah. That he would be the guy.
He's been hot,
Great shooter, really works well off screens and catch and shoot opportunities. But I think Sturts is the better shot creator, and I think at the end of the day, I think he kind of struggled against Florida, if I'm being honest. But
really
again,
bad first half too.
Yeah, I think that was Florida's game plan all along. So we'll see how it goes out. But I really think Iowa's going to come out with the W there.
Keep it moving here, and we talked about who are they going to meet, and they're going to be meeting a team or a winner of a game that's going to be another great one. This is one between Illinois and Houston, who have been two of the highest scoring teams in the country, especially in the start of the NCAA tournament a little bit, or a week and a half ago. So talking about Illinois, they got some of that international flair that we've been used to seeing over there, including the son of Peja Stojakovic, who came off the bench and had 24 in the win last time out. And they've seemed to got a couple of those guys, Oviches, if you will, that seem to be shooters and scorers, and see some of those guys in Iowa State as well. But some of those guys that are coming over and making a big impact in the college game, they have been one of them. And in the past couple of years, Illinois has been a team that's had a 2, 3, or 4 seed, but hasn't been able to really find their rhythm or have that success in the tournament like some of these other teams. Big Ten, though, has been fantastic this year so far in the NCAA tournament, but they've got to go up against Kelvin Sampson in the Houston Cougars, who a lot of people have winning the NCAA tournament. I know when we talked about it, a lot of us had Florida and Houston, the winner of that game, going to the national championship or being the national champion. So Houston and Illinois going to be another good one. Should be a lot of points scored in this one. How you leaning?
I'm leaning Houston.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I think they got the better defense. Individual players, I think they have a little bit better. The biggest thing that Illinois is going to have to do is they're going to have to go in and they're going to try to make it into a game where Houston has to keep pace with them. If Houston can't put the defensive clamps on them, that could be a game where Houston struggles. I do think that's Houston's Achilles heel. They're great defensively, but if they're down by 6, it feels like it's 10 because they don't have the natural creators that some of these other schools are. Probably their best guy is Milo Cizan. He's probably the best, I would say, individual player that they have in creating shots. Kingston Fleming is more of you'll hear his name in June. He's more of a guy that creates off defense and in transition. But half-court offense, as we know, kind of rules the NCAA tournament because teams like this, they like to slow you down. Uzan is the better shot creator on that team. So I think if Illinois can keep that offensive going and make Houston challenge them for points, that's where Houston can get into trouble. But on the other end, if Illinois starts to struggle getting shots up, I think it can be a quick game for Houston.
Yeah, Manuel Sharp. I mean, Houston's got a lot of talent there, and again, looking to do what they could not do last year. Florida's out; won't have to deal with them now. I'm sure they're happy about that. And
sure.
Again, if they get to that Elite Eight game, remember that game will be in Houston, so it's going to be a home game no matter who they got here coming up down the stretch. But this one should be a close one. Houston small favorites, 2.5-point favorites. Just against Illinois. So that should be a fantastic game. Again, that one is also tomorrow night. That game is last on the dock for 10:05. So that's the South region. Let's head back up top here to the top overall seed in the East and top overall seed in the tournament. That is the Duke Blue Devils. And again, a couple of us had them advancing into the Final Four. I know Jason, I believe, did as well. But Duke struggling in day number one and game number one against Siena, a game where they were almost 30-point favorites.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, watching that one, Matthew, I'm not nervous for them because I had them, but for an upset like that, I would root against them down the stretch.
For sure.
But I mean, if you like Duke and you were a Duke fan, you had to be nervous down the stretch. I mean, you kept waiting for the run from the Duke Blue Devils, and it just didn't come. Then we got to the point with about 12 minutes left to go in the game in the second half, and they were still down. And I'm telling you, Duke fans must have been sweating. They finally put it together late. They take down Jerry McNamara. We said it here on the show, though, if they have a good outing, he might be the head coach of Syracuse later that night. Took a couple more days, but he is now, in fact, the head coach of Syracuse. So congratulations to Jerry McNamara. But Duke, able to come back against Siena. They win that game by 6 points and then took them almost to the first half to get back into a groove against TCU, the 9 seed. They finally do. They get the win 81-58. They really got going late. Cameron Boozer, been okay, I guess, so far. Caden Boozer, though, stepping up here where they needed some guard play. No Gongba yet here so far in the tournament. So still dealing with those injuries, and obviously no Foster. So Duke finally putting it together here down the stretch, Matthew. Have they found it? Is your confidence renewed in the Duke Blue Devils, or after the first weekend, are you a little nervous now after what you've seen?
I've been nervous about them all year. I think the biggest issue with Duke is the guard play. If Caden Boozer can keep doing what he's been doing, great. But clearly, I think the best individual offensive player on that team is Isaiah Evans, followed by Cameron Boozer. I mean, and really, that's it at the end of the day. With not having some of the key personnel that we talked about, that's huge for them. Dame Sarr stepped up a little bit since they had some of the. And Dame Sarr, you may not know him or not, but he's one of the top players over in Spain who came over to play for Duke this year. NIL is causing international kids to come over.
Any relation to Alex Sarr?
I don't know.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I never thought about that. But yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, yeah, he's been great. Been a slow starter, but at the end of the day, I think he gives him a little bit more depth. But this is a big matchup for Cameron Boozer and his NBA draft prospects because he's going to be going against Zuby Ejiofor, who is got NBA size, great defense, really good man defender. This has been kind of the thing that we in the draft community have been waiting for, is with Boozer and some of these matchups where he's going against guys that are what he's going to see in the next level. He hasn't always done well against those players. So this is a huge matchup for him. I don't know if it's going to impact him. I think he's still going to be in the top 5 regardless of what happens, but it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. If Zuby Ejiofor can slow down Cameron Boozer and the Johnnies can extend that zone out to cover some of these players at the guard position for Duke, Duke could be in for a fight.
Yeah, we talked about it. Cam Boozer obviously coming into the tournament. One of the highlights of his career, hasn't apparently lost a championship games in 6th grade. So 7th grade, 8th grade, all of high schools won it every year. And now in his freshman year at Duke, a lot of people thought maybe able to do the same thing. But as we talked about, struggling just a little bit here so far. I'm sure people maybe anticipate him dominating more. You talked about Caden Boozer, 19 this week. 25 or 27 in week 1 there, game number 1 against to survive Siena. So he's been the bright spot, as you mentioned. We'll see if they can put it together. But again, we'll see. Cameron Boozer, Zuby Ejiofor, defensive and offensive player of the year in the Big East. And again, a down year for the Big East, but certainly not a down year, at least so far, for St. John's. So that should be a good one. Duke and St. John's didn't get your pick yet. Which way are you leaning in that one?
I'm still going to go Duke.
You're going to go Duke. I'm gonna go with the Johnnies here.
Okay.
St. John's, and now I think I took him on the show. I'll stick with him here and go with St. John's. Now let's go now to another number 1 seed and a win over St. Louis. Kicked off day number 2 action, or I should say round of 32 action, was Michigan and St. Louis. So St. Louis put up over 100 in their week 1 or game 1. They get the win. They now take on Michigan. That game, Matthew, was close with Michigan here for the first part of that first half and even into the start of the second half. Dusty May and the Wolverines, though, able to find their footing, and Lendon Borg continues to be a fantastic player for Michigan. Coming off some injuries, very interesting college career. If you don't know his backstory, give it a Google there for sure. But he looks fantastic, and 26 points, 6 rebounds, 95-72 in for Michigan. It just seems like they've got firepower and everything you need up and down that roster here this year for Coach Dusty May. How confident are you in the Wolverines going forward, or what did they show you in that win against St. Louis?
I mean, Michigan's been this way all year. They're up and down depending on certain guys. I think the key player for them is not Yaxel. I think the key player for them is Morris Johnson. If he can get going, I think they're tough to beat. Addy Mara, he's kind of a guy that I think has gotten a lot of publicity. I think he's really just the beneficiary of being around Yaxel and Morris. I don't think he's as good as some people have put him out there. I've seen some people have him in the first round. Like, I don't see that him as a talent like that. But I will say this. This was the Alabama I was warning people about. A lot of people were saying, oh, they lost their point guard. A lot of people didn't see them play. You didn't see Amari Allen. You didn't see Fallon. You didn't see Adrian Sherrill.
Fallon's a different type, man.
These guys are all McDonald's All-Americans. They're really good. They're not going to be back down from Michigan at all. This is going to be a fight for Michigan. I do agree at the end of the day, if we're talking about certain positions, I think Michigan has the better players. I think Yaxel will probably be a top 10 pick this year, depending on who picks there. But again, Elliot Cordell is the guy that I think more or less is going to determine the fate of Michigan. When he's passing the ball and he's getting everybody involved, they're tough to beat. When he gets stifled in a half-court offense and isn't able to create and make shots, that's when Michigan stalls a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Michigan, and you mentioned the loss of Aiden Holloway for Alabama. Again, if you don't know why, Google that one as well there. 2 days before the NCAA tournament, it's hard to imagine. I'm sure Nate Oates, when he got that phone call, was a little surprised there. But Aiden Holloway obviously committing a felony leading up to the NCAA tournament. And you said it. How about the response from Alabama and Fallon and those guys and Nate Oates? It didn't matter with them, but 9.5-point underdogs in this game here. That's almost double digits. You see Michigan as that big of a favorite in this one?
No, I don't.
Yeah, so there you go. Because should be a close one there. Alabama still got that firepower again coming in. Seems like every year under Nate Oates, one of the best offenses in the country. So no Holloway, no problem so far for Alabama. We'll see if they can keep it rolling. Going to be a good one as we're getting into some really good games here in the tournament to this point. As Matthew said, they will get Michigan. Let's head to the bottom of that bracket. Virginia goes down. It seems like their struggles in the tournament continue, but able to at least win that first round game, which was the first time they've done that in about 3 or 4 years. So they get that one, but unable to beat the Volunteers of Tennessee out of the SEC, 79-72. They advance, and then Iowa State able to come back and beat Kentucky after a little bit of a slow first half. They win that one, though, by 20. So Iowa State, though, they lost Jefferson 3 minutes. They're All-American into that game in round number 1. Did not make it back for that second game there against Kentucky that we just alluded to. What didn't matter, though, you talked about Alabama. No Aiden Holloway, no problem there. No Jefferson, no problem for the Cyclones. So they win by 20. They get big games all around there for Iowa State. Lipsey looks good, leading the way for them. Tennessee, Iowa State. Can the Volunteers keep it going and give Iowa State a game here in the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I think so. I think the key players, is Nate Ament. If Nate Ament gets going, with his ability to create, make shots from the perimeter, and really use his length to disrupt passing lanes, I think they're tough to beat. I think the biggest issue for Iowa State was what I talked about in our bracket show, is at the end of the day, when you start getting this deep in the tournament, it's about Jimmys and Joes. Other than Lipsey and
Momcilovic?
Yeah, Momcilovic, thank you. That's where it gets a little dicey after that. I think Tennessee has more guys that can get points. So at the end of the day, I'm going with Tennessee. But again, it wouldn't shock me if Iowa State pulls this out. I mean, they play as a team. They play very cohesive together. but I'm still giving it to Tennessee. I think that's who I picked in the bracket as well, too.
Yeah, how about that one? Again, another underdog here for Matthew. 4.5-point favorites for Iowa State. Matthew taking Tennessee. It's gonna be interesting for me to wait and see the news on Jefferson. We get those injury reports this year, so tomorrow, I believe, or Thursday, we'll find out whether or not he's good to go. At least it's hard to come back from a rolled ankle a day later, so I get him sitting out that one. But if he can't come back this week, we'll see what happens. But hopefully he is back for Iowa State. And if that's the case, I lean Cyclones slightly in that one against Tennessee. Let's keep it moving here. That's going to be set up your matchup in the Midwest. So we've been through the Midwest. We've been through the East. We've been through a little part of the South. And now let's head down to
the West, right?
The West, right? There we go. Yep. That's how you finish off the four
directions.
There you go. There. Arizona, Braden Berries and company. Long Island goes down. They take down Utah State. After that one was a game in the first half. Utah State and MJ Collins make a little bit of a run there before and after, but unable to take down Arizona. Arkansas, Darius Acup Jr., as advertised, signed his deal with Reebok today. To me, I just see glimpses, and again, I would never compare anybody to this player. I don't think he's going to be this player, just in terms of the little things. I think he's got a little Allen Iverson in him, just a little bit. And then the signing with Reebok today, I thought, hey, there you go. Then maybe that is absolutely right. As Reebok hasn't had a big-time player in a long time.
Been a while.
So we'll see what happens with Darius Acup Jr. But they're getting contributions up and down for Arkansas. Arkansas, Arizona. I think all of us anticipated this one in the bracket breakdown.
Definitely did.
I'm telling you, and I went Arkansas on that day, and I'm leaning Arkansas again here. Matthew, am I crazy to think so?
No, it's going to be this might be the best game
could be.
This week. I mean, I think this is going to be a great game. The stars are aligned. There's so many guys on both sides that really are going to, I think, make a lot of money. So Darius Acup, there's now talk of him being a top 3 player in the draft.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I mean, this top 5 this year, and we'll talk. I can't wait to get to your draft show and mock draft going forward. But I'm loving what I'm seeing out of this potential class here, and obviously Caleb Wilson, we didn't get a chance to see him in the NCAA tournament, but a lot of talent atop the board, I think, this year, right?
Oh, tons. This is one of the richest drafts we've seen in a while in terms of talent. I mean, to just put it in a different light, just to give people an understanding, if you pick 9th in this draft, it's going to be like picking 3rd in another draft. It's so much talent. And there's Acup right there. I mean, I'll say this about Acup. There's been talk, some people have asked me, does he have a chance of going number 1? I don't think he has a chance of going number 1 just simply from this standpoint. When we talk about who has gone number 1 as a guard, you're talking about Kyrie Irving, you're talking about John Wall, you're talking about Derrick Rose, and Allen Iverson. The one difference between him and those guys is he doesn't have those physical attributes that those guys had. I mean, Kyrie was a ridiculous, counter dribbler who could pull up and make shots with efficiency. Allen Iverson was, just a buzzsaw on the open court. John Wall was probably a one-man fast break. And then, Derrick Rose, I think, perhaps nobody who's had that kind of talent offensively and athletically at that point guard position. He probably was the most dominant athletic point guard that I've seen ever. So I don't think he has those profiles, but I will say this. The way he plays and the way that he has put Arkansas on his back, do I see him maybe getting a top 3? Sure. Wouldn't shock me. But the idea that he goes in the top, number 1, that would shock me. That
would be tough. I feel like I'm with you on that one. I mean, people going through some of the top ranks. I do think he's working his way up, as you said there. And I'm going to put you on the spot just to ask you this one here, Matthew, before we continue. As of right now, I know a lot can change. I know how the draft works in all sports. Who do you have atop your draft board as it stands here to this point?
I have Darren Peterson, A.J. DeBansta, Caleb Wilson, and then Darius Acup.
Hey, hard to argue with those 4 guys.
Yeah.
Tell you, right? If you're picking the top 4, you love to hear those names. We even get to Cam Boozer.
And Cam Boozer's
and some
5th.
of those other guys, right? Yes, so I love to see that there. I'm with you. I think I might have it the same way. That means I'm doing something right.
There you go.
Matthew's got it the same way. Let's jump to Texas and Purdue. I had this one, Matthew. Texas to the Sweet 16. Hopefully not a lot of people did. That was one of the ones I got right here. They get Purdue as Purdue's able to edge Miami by double digits late there. And Texas, I'll tell you what, man, this is watching them in the first 4, the athleticism. I mean, obviously, Sean Miller, a good coach over the years. Seems like he's got them playing very well. It seems, Swain. Seems like they've got up and down that roster guys that are making contributions, playing their roles better. And that's what you said. It's about the Joes, right? Well, those guys have stepped up for Texas.
For sure.
Weaver off the bench. I mean, they have looked really good here. They take down a couple of juggernauts, Gonzaga being one of them, and now they get another in Purdue. Again, I have this one being a close game between these two teams. I think I finally may go against Texas and lean Purdue. In this one, I'm sure there'll be a favorite in the game, but how do you think this one go? Can Texas keep the magic going? We don't have a Cinderella, as you can say, with no mid-majors making the Sweet 16 once again this year. Back-to-back years, we've never seen that, so a little bit less fun there. But Texas, if there had to be one, might be the one.
Yeah, no, I'm picking Texas because I
like that.
I did not have Purdue. I did not have Purdue getting this far.
The juice to do it. But I wish I could. I mean, I've been on Texas the whole way, so it would not shock me if they win. But yeah, continue.
But I think we highlighted all the players. The one player I think has to absolutely produce in this is Tremont Mark. He went to Arkansas. He went to Houston before, who's also going to be fighting to get in that spot. He's the one guy that has to come out and play for Texas. If he comes out and plays and he gets 15, 16 points, I think Texas is going to be really hard to beat. And as much as I love the way that Purdue runs their offense and I love the team chemistry that they have, it's just going to be a lot because they're going to have to. They need Braden Smith to come out and really ball. He's got to have at least 20 points and probably 8 assists for them to really separate themselves from Texas in a game. So at the end of the day, I got Texas over Purdue. But look, would I be shocked if Purdue wins? No, but. Clearly, I think when we're talking about Jimmys and Joes, I think Texas got more guys that can make shots at the end of the day.
I'm telling you, would not be shocked at all. You talked about Purdue. It seems like, and we talked about this last week before we went on the air, Braden Smith, Kaufman Wren, those guys are playing the national championship as freshmen with Zach Yee. They've got that tournament experience, but you kind of think about Purdue, and you think about kind of the mid-season woes that they went through this year where they just, lost for 3 or 4 in a row. The defense was just atrocious there. They really couldn't get back going. That's why seeing that run in the Big Ten tournament was so surprising. Did it all of a sudden just click back for Painter and the Boilermakers? It certainly looks like it's done to this point. And when you think of turn matchups for a 2 seed, maybe they got, according to seed, the best draw, if you will, in Texas. We'll see how it goes because I'm with you. I love what Texas has been able to do. They are playing hot. Those Joes, as you said, have been fantastic. And I think Vukatitis, who I think has been fantastic in the middle for Texas. I think he's been kind of one of, as you mentioned, Mark, I think he's been great in the middle, defensively, offensively, rebounding. I mean, they just seems like guys for everything that they want to do. So this one I expect to be close as well between Texas and Purdue. Purdue, though, 7.5-point favorites in this one. I'm going to lead Texas and give me those points against the Boilermakers up. But Fletcher Lawyer really getting going with that shooting. If that continues, it'll be tough. But again, 7.5-point favorite. I'm going to get Texas in the points. In that one. So I'm going to take that one with you as well. So we've been through some of those other regions as we continue to stay there. So maybe we get an Arkansas and Texas matchup here if we continue to go in that bracket. Is there a game that you're looking forward to the most here coming up on Thursday, Friday? Lastly, before we move on, we got to talk a little bit about UConn, Michigan State, Danny Hurley and Tom Izzo finishing it off. And I had Michigan State, I believe, when we talked.
I think you did.
I think coming in this one, but or at least when I submitted the final bracket, I did. And I wasn't sure how they were going to look to start the tournament. Usually Izzo a wizard in week 1 and weekend number 1. He certainly was again this time. But watching it back, and UConn 1.5-point favorites, they finally got going last time out. I think I'm going Michigan State and Tom Izzo here in this one. I just love what I've seen out of Fears, Carr, Kohler. It's a different world in Michigan State than what we have around the other teams, right? It's not as NIL-oriented, or it was maybe to start, but those guys have stayed. Those guys have been there for 2 and 3 years now, so it's not like a new group of guys. I might lean Michigan State in this game against UConn. I just love the way they're playing, and it wouldn't have shocked me now if Michigan State wins this region. I am now all in on the Spartans after what I've seen here in the first 2 weekends. I think they've got a chance, out of all the teams left, a good chance to make it to the national championship.
No, I'm not mad at that.
Do you share those sentiments, Matthew?
No, I don't believe Michigan State at all. But I will say this.
I'm all in.
Like I said in our bracket show, it all hinges on Fears. If Fears plays under control and he runs that offense, they got a good chance to win. I love Carr's athleticism as we're watching this.
He's leading scores so far for them.
Definitely. I think at the end of the day, if I'm being honest though, and we look at what has to go right for them, they have to stop Terrence Reed, and they have to stop Alex Carabin. If they can stop those guys, sure, they got a chance. But then you have to worry about Brandon Mullins. So at the end of the day, that's what Michigan State is dealing with. We haven't even touched on the fact that solo ball really hasn't even been able to come into a game for him. He's been struggling.
I mean, those guys obviously know there, but yeah, a little bit. Shooting the ball has been a struggle. Coming into that last game, 8 of 44 from beyond the arc coming into that last game. And you always think, is this going to stick, or is this a trend that's going to stick, or are they going to snap out of this? Sometimes you think, hey, they're due. They missed that many. Maybe they will come back down to earth. But, I mean, it got a little bit better last time out, but I just don't know if they have enough consistent firepower shooting the ball wise. I mean, again, it wouldn't shock me, but I'm just going to lean Michigan State in a slight one. UConn small favorites. You going with the Huskies?
I'm going with the Huskies. I think Braylon Mullins is going to have a good game. And I think at the end of the day, I don't think Michigan State has an answer for Terrace Reed.
Yeah, we'll see if they do. Again, it pains me to go against Danny Hurley in this one, but I'll be picking against him here for the moment. So let's walk through, regroup some of our picks here, Matthew, as we progress, get through our NCAA tournament talk here on a Tuesday. Duke and St. John's, you're going with the Blue Devils.
Yep, unfortunately.
I'm going with the Johnnies, so we split there in that one. Michigan State, UConn, we're splitting in that one too,
Yep.
so we are separating up there in the East.
Yep.
Then let's head down, Iowa, Nebraska.
I'm going to Iowa.
Iowa there. Hey, we're going to keep going different. I'm going to go with Nebraska
Okay.
and Hoiberg and the boys there to knock down some threes. That's going to be, I'm interested to see that over-under. I haven't looked at it yet. I wonder if it might not be the most fun game to watch in terms of scoring, but it'll be competitive. It'll be competitive there. Illinois, Houston, I think we're the same here. Houston. We're both going with the Cougars. Tennessee, Iowa State. Man, I think we're going a lot of different here today, man.
I'm going Tennessee.
I'm going to go with the Cyclones. But again, got to see what's up with Jefferson. But I'm going to go with the Cyclones here. Michigan, Alabama.
I'm going to go with Alabama. That was my pick in the bracket show.
There you go, Alabama.
My pick in the bracket show.
I'm going to have to go with Michigan. Lendenborg and those guys are playing too well. I'm going a little bit chalk there, but love Matthew's pick so far. Texas, Purdue.
I'm going Texas.
See, and I love you taking Texas. I love the points. I want the 7.5 points. I'll take 5.5, 6.5. Definitely give me 7.5.
Right.
Man, you know. That's a tough. Let's have some fun. Give me Texas.
There you go.
I'm gonna go with you. Give me Texas. I've been riding with them. Let's keep the ride going.
There we go.
And then to us, maybe the best game in the Sweet 16: Arizona and Arkansas. Burries versus Acuff. Number 1 versus number 4. Can Arizona and Tommy Lloyd finally advance past the Sweet 16?
Yes. I'm going to Arizona.
Give me Arkansas. There we go. We agree only on one of them here today. That never happens, so we got to love to see that there. Games again Thursday night, getting underway Thursday, Friday for the Sweet 16. So no Florida, but I'm still invested. So I'll continue to watch, even though we got no Gators here continuing this season. Last words on the NCAA tournament as we gear up for another Sweet 16. No mid-majors, as we mentioned, for the second straight year.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen now. I mean, all the mid-major talent, it's getting siphoned to the rich get richer. And at the end of the day, that's kind of the problem with the NIL that I think that the powers that be are going to have to try to figure out. I mean, I think there's a lot of solutions out there. I've talked to some people who are in these circles. I've given them my ideas about how they can fix it. We're going to see. I think there's a lot of things they can do. I'll just really quickly, I think the one thing that NIL has to fix is they have to fix what happens to the team that took the chance on the player. Because what's happening now is a lot of the Division I guys, they're not even going into the recruiting cycle and getting the players. They're going through the transfer portal. St. John's is a prime example. They don't really recruit out here. They just wait for the transfer portal and they cherry pick the guys. At the end of the day, I think what has to happen is, and look, people are going to not be in favor of this, but I think it's the only thing that makes sense is if you're a Delaware or a Del State and you get a player and you sign him to a contract for, let's say, just the life of his time being there, and then somebody else comes in and wants to take that player off your hands, they have to do a buyout. It's the only thing that's going to help the smaller programs so they can recoup some of that loss. Because, like, if you let's say you take a chance on a 2-star kid and he ends up becoming a player that's better than the program, well, you're not getting any return on that. You basically have lost him to a big bag of NIL money, and you don't have anything to show for it other than the fact that you discovered him. So I think at the end of the day, if we're going to have this transfer system. We need to open it up the way that they do overseas with football, aka soccer here in the States. It's the only thing that I think makes tangible sense to kind of reward mid-major and lower major colleges in the basketball stratosphere. Football, that's a whole nother can of worms. But for right now, I'm just talking about just basketball.
I'll tell you, man, basketball, you said mid-majors, it's a different world out there, and I'm glad we got a few wins with the High Point,
sure.
and, et cetera, making some things close. But to your point again, this year, once more, Delaware had the Freshman of the Year. Christian Bliss, the transfer from Virginia, didn't play at all while he was with the Cavaliers. Unbelievable Ironman, averaged about 39 minutes a game, phenomenal stats across the board. Announces today he'll be heading out, right?
Of course.
He is gone. That was announced today. He's entered the transfer portal. Kevin Riley, their only other returning starter from last year, did not play a game this year due to a hamstring injury. Guess what? He's in the transfer portal. He's heading out. Fernandez, their leading scorer, who they got from Providence, who didn't necessarily play for the Providence, came over, averaged over 20 points a game here for Delaware. Guess what?
Gone.
He's gone. They're all gone. Everybody's gone for the second. Macon Emery, who they had as a freshman, fantastic two-way player, getting better, really coming into his own in that system, gave them some really good minutes this year as a starter. Guess what?
Gone.
He's gone. Everybody is gone for the University of Delaware. You mentioned those guys that you find. Coach Inglesby now back-to-back years where he's had the conference freshman of the year. Both years. In CAA last year, Isaiah Pasha, a no-star recruit
Virginia
coming
Tech,
out, led him to the conference championship, unable to beat UNCW. The year after, guess what?
Gone.
He's gone. A big sum of money to go ahead at Virginia Tech, where it didn't really get on the floor as much this year. So that's the life of a mid-major, right? We said back-to-back freshman of the year for Delaware, will not be a member of the Blue Hens roster last year. That is the new reality, unfortunately. And again, it puts Coach Inglesby and that coaching staff in a tough spot. But
I don't want to pick on the kid, but you just mentioned the one gentleman who didn't even play this year that left Delaware.
Yeah.
Who was that?
Pasha, Isaiah Pasha.
So here's my thing. I get if you've had a great season and you want to go out and you want to open up your recruitment and see what's out there for the NIL. But I'm seeing kids that are averaging 4, 3, 2 points a game going into the transfer portal.
7 minutes a game at Virginia.
Yeah, 7 minutes a game and going into the transfer portal. If you're averaging 4 minutes a game at a mid-major and you're going into the transfer portal, I got news for you. The majors aren't going to offer you a bag of cash. Like, for some reason, some of the expectations of the transfer portal, I think, have dwarfed the reality of the situation. Sometimes you have to wait for your opportunity. I can't argue with somebody who won freshman of the year in a conference and wants to then go out and explore.
They get their bag, right?
I'm all for it. Get your money, bro. But I'm saying the guys that you struggled, you were just okay in conference play. Stay in a system where the coaching staff knows you, they know what you need to work on, get that development, and then see if you can have the season you need to then explore other opportunities. But to then just say, okay, I had an okay year, now I'm going to go into the transfer portal. Bro, you didn't even kill it in the Colonial. You didn't do anything. You were okay, you were solid, but you weren't killing it. Like, at least establish yourself as a player at the conference that you're on before you start opening up the door to go transfer. Because what happens to a lot of these kids, and a lot of people don't like to talk about it because we get infatuated with the numbers of NIL, but a lot of these kids, they don't get picked up. And Delaware, I'm not saying anybody in particular, I'm just using Delaware as an example. Delaware then says, oh, I got to go fill my roster, so they go elsewhere. Yeah. That kid comes back, Delaware's like, I'm filled. And then they have to then either go even farther down, or in some cases, they're out. They go into Division II or NAIA because there's no money. So that's the issue at the end of the day for some of these players. I mean, I think last year there was 2,000 transfers, something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think out of the 2,000 transfers, I think there was only 1,700 that were picked up by Division I schools. So at the end of the day, it's not always the big pot and rainbow and the money at the end of it. Some of these kids are finding disappointment at the end of that rainbow because they're not getting picked up. And I think that's the issue with NIL. It's not that people are against players exploring opportunities to make more money. It's just that there's some players that they want the money now. And it's like, you're not even a player right now. And if you go out there this transfer portal, there's a chance you might not get picked up. And that's the reality people don't want to explore.
Yeah, I'm saying we're actually seeing it. I know covering some of the high school stuff still a little bit for me. We're seeing it at the high school level.
Yeah.
I mean, it is taken over. That trend has taken over high school here, even here in Delaware. I mean, just the amount the kids, it's something you didn't see back when we were in high school too much about transferring schools, especially for sports.
Yeah.
Nowadays, that seems to be, what everybody's doing here. Even in Delaware, we're seeing kids go to 3 schools by the time they're finishing up their high school career.
And let me just say this, and I'm not. I'm talking about a situation, but I'm trying not to talk about a situation. If you're the leading scorer on your team and you're an underclassman and you were one of the better teams in the state, what is it that you think you should be getting out of the school? At some point, we gotta start understanding the expectations that, like, you're the leading scorer, or you're one of the leading scorers. Let's say you're in the top 2 of a varsity good 20-win season team in Delaware. What other school are you trying to get? Like, you're getting the opportunity. You're on a quality program, and then you're like, well, I'm going to leave because I want to go here because it's more shiny and gold. Well, the chances are you might not get the same experience that you're getting there, because that's one of the things we saw when we were playing growing up, and things you see is that players progress, and usually they progress when they have a coaching staff that believes in them and that develops them. And what you're seeing now is every time a kid leaves, to your point, they're going to their 3rd high school. Well, the 3rd high school is a different offense, different philosophy, different understanding of things.
Different academics as well, right? We talk about that part. Nick Saban, I know, was trying to preach that when they met at the White House, talk about college sports, was, these kids are going to 3 or 4 schools, where the academics was kind of the main reason we were going to college in the first place. And again, that's not the reason everybody is going, to play football in the SEC. Right. We get that. But again, that's kind of been lost here, as a lot of people the degrees have not even, it's been an afterthought since the transfer portal. Somebody's worried about that. You're worried about finding the next big thing. And in high school, again, when you're going to other schools, it's not the same as leaving Delaware to go to Virginia Tech or something like that, right? I mean, you're not elevating yourself, you're not getting more eyes. And the shame, high school, just because we're touching on it here, and the thing that I've noticed in Delaware, it's been a shame, is a lot of the kids that have that upper level talent here leave the area. Right? Like when look at Jalen. Jalen Durham will always be a Delaware guy. We love Jalen Durham, fantastic. And now look at him with what he's done for the Pistons. I mean, we are Jalen Durham #1 fans, but he didn't play his basketball. He did when he was younger, not high school basketball.
He didn't play any high school basketball
Delaware, right? Like, I mean, that's just seemed to. Newman Goretti came down and got some of our guys here locally, brought them up to Philly, and again, that's where they think they're going to get that type of exposure. So hopefully, as we go forward, we can learn to keep some of this talent in the house. And I'll tell you what, we've got a hell of a sophomore this year in Mason Collins for that I hope sticks around as well. Player of the year this year.
Probably won't.
His dad did a phenomenal job with the Hornets. They got a very nice young team. His dad being the coach of former Temple. Al, again, love the great family, and I think hopefully they stay here. A lot of talent there. Did a great job with Tatnall, so I hope that continues this year as well. But it's a different world we're living in now, Matthew.
For sure.
So again, there you have it on the NCAA tournament, and again, big games coming up. Sweet 16 starting this Thursday, Friday. We'll be back next week, of course, to break that down and get the table set for the Elite Eight. So now we're going to continue a bulk of the show tonight, Matthew, of course, dedicated to the NCAA tournament, as it should be, to this day and to this part of the month in March. But now I do want to get your opinion on this. I'm sure you had to have seen it, as Team USA flag football put together a team there in a little Fanatics show over the weekend. And a lot of the time before we go pre-production here and we come on the show and we're getting everything ready, sometimes we don't even go through the script together. We just like to we dive right in live, and we keep Dennis on his toes, and we like to get our initial reactions. We don't even know sometimes what we're going to be talking about.
We don't.
When we show up. But we used to do a lot more better of that. I apologize, but we're diving in, and that's just because we get our thoughts off the cuff. So we didn't know we'd be talking about this, but I know you, and I had a feeling you saw this, and I'm sure you've had some thoughts on this. So NFL got their guys together, put together some flag football teams to take on the Team USA. And ever since it was announced that flag football would be in the Olympics a few years ago, the NFL players have been adamant about, hey, this is their time now to be in the Olympics, and that they're going to take that shine from the professional flag football players, if you will, and they want the right to play for a gold medal. But they put together, Fanatics did a team over the weekend, or a couple of teams, and they didn't fare too well against Team USA. The USA roster of pro flag football players beat 2 teams, a combined score 82-27. We saw Brady, we saw Burrow, we saw Hurts. None of them really, lighting it up out there. Even, I'm sure, if you saw Joe Burrow try to run and scamper a few of those moments, if you're a Bengals fan, I'm sure you were terrified with that knee. But your thoughts on Team USA laying the hammer on the NFL guys in flag football. This was just kind of maybe a fun day out. These guys are on vacation. They're just having fun for Fanatics. They weren't really trying, or is this what's to come, or maybe what we're going to see if these teams actually did play each other?
I hope it's not what's coming. I mean, that's been the fear among NFL fans, is that this is like the future of the sport. Let me say this. First of all, hats off to Tom Brady. He literally got $75 million. Did you hear about this?
No, I guess.
He got $75 million to play in this thing.
No.
The Saudis gave it to him. $75 million.
So let me tell you, just for that one a second. Now, is Michael Rubin and are they doing this together? Because Michael Rubin's the Fanatics guy.
I don't know if he's doing it.
I'm not a big fan of him.
But the Saudis went to
just
Tom Brady.
Just because of the monopoly with what they do in sports. I can't get a T-shirt from any Eagles shirt, Philly shirt that doesn't have Fanatics on. I think they've monopolized the industry. I think it's ruined the industry. But yeah, I did not know that. That is quite the amount of money.
Just to play that game, $75 million. He told me he didn't want to play it, and he said, well, what would it take? And he said $75 million.
They said deal.
They said deal.
Wow. Wow.
I want to live like that.
Wow.
Like that's incredible.
I don't know what to say after that.
I mean, he's the winner. He's the winner.
I don't care.
Who
cares about the result of the game?
Yeah.
There's only one winner.
And let me just say this too, because I've been seeing this out on social media, and of course because it's local. Dog, would y'all stop worrying about the Jalen Hurts interception, bro?
And that's Matthew.
Come on,
from
bro.
Matthew. Wow.
Come on, bro. It's flag football, bro. This is like the Pro Bowl game to them.
Pick six. Everybody.
Come on, bro. Y'all making too much out of this. And I'm a Jalen. Look, I'm not a Jalen Hurts guy, but come on, man. We're now evaluating flag football throws. Like, come on, man. We're doing too much, man. We're doing too much.
Man, they got busted up, and as you said, I hope that is not, what's to come here as we continue on in flag football. But the Olympics coming up, what, 27, 28?
Something like that, yeah.
27, 28. We'll find out, and we'll see, because I'll tell you, Deuce, the quarterback for Team USA. Remember weeks ago he came out and he was all pissed off initially, but a year ago when they said they wanted to play. Well, he laid it on him. Here or over the weekend. Matthew, MLB Opening Day is back. We are officially here tomorrow. Yankees-Giants kick it off. Netflix dominating some of the industry. They get into the baseball game a little bit. They'll have the opener tomorrow night between the Yankees and the Giants. Then the Phillies on Thursday opening up at home, 4:15 against the Rangers. Baseball is finally back. Not a lot of moves for our Phillies in the offseason. A few changes. I was hoping for a little more. But what do you think?
The real change.
What do you? Oh, geez, I can't bring up baseball because then he brings up this. Go ahead.
Time to get rid of Bryce.
Oh my God!
Get him out of here, man.
Even after the 2-run home run to take the lead in the World Baseball Classic.
Get him out of here. Boy, cooked. No one wants to be honest about that. All right. Nobody. I talked to a Phillies fan today. We had this big conversation. And I was not alone in my assessment of Mr. Harper.
Okay, I would like to hear.
He said the same thing I've been saying. We need to move off of him, get some players, and just start this thing over again. It's not that Bryce Harper is a terrible player, because he's not. It's just, if we're being honest, I think the sun has set a little bit, man. I mean,
it's a big year. It's almost a career-defining year.
We need an ace other than Mr. Wheeler.
And we don't even have Mr. Wheeler right now.
Correct. So
Christopher Sanchez, he got that new 6-year contract.
It's guys like me out there throwing. And when guys like me are out there throwing for the Phillies, this is not good, man. It's not good. So I'm just saying, look, no one loves the Phillies more than me, bruh, okay? I believe on that. I'm a Philly fan like Steve Jeltz, man, okay, with the curl out there, okay, bruh? The Jerry curl and everything with Gary Maddox and Gary Matthews and all those guys, man. I'm old school like that. Schmitty and Drojan, Von Hayes, man.
So
come on, bro.
Let's see. Maybe we'll put some magic together this year. Maybe this is the year,
No, every year, dog. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, Ryan Howard's a better Philly than Bryce Harper.
So far, he's got a World Series. So
he's got a World Series,
hard
exactly.
To argue with that, but
Can we just be honest with this? If you're a Philadelphia Phillies fan, if you don't, you've seen Schmitty get one. You saw Steve Carlton get one with Schmitty. You saw.
You got J. Roll, Utley, Howard. They got one.
Is Bryce Harper's measuring stick as a Philadelphia Philly?
No.
Not that he has to win a title? He has to win a title, right?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Right.
I think so.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do agree with that. I do think,
And people want to crown him as Mr. Philadelphia. It's like, bro. in.
Well, we talked about the Phillies again kicking off their season on Thursday, and we rarely touch on baseball's a long year. Big moments we'll touch on here on the show weekly with football, basketball. We got a lot to get into.
Yep.
But we haven't talked about the Sixers at all this year. I know we had a nice hiatus here in between seasons for us, but we are back officially now. So let's just touch on the NBA landscape here a little bit that we haven't done. And again, let me just ask you this to start.
Okay.
And we are all big NBA guys.
We are.
Over the years, and I mean, does it seem like it's cooling off a little bit to you as a viewer, to the audience, national ratings? I mean, you talk about it. Are you, I mean, to me, there were days where I couldn't miss a game. I'd be watching both of the TNT, mainstays, a 10:30 tip, I'd be up till 1 in the morning, stuff like that. And in this NBA, and again, maybe it's just a personal thing, but I just haven't been into it as much as I have been. Again, I'm still probably a lot more than the average person, but not me trying to catch every moment of every game this year. Just let me ask you personally, do you feel the same way? And what do you attest to those? The ratings are down, obviously, and they're trying. We're hearing about expansion teams. They're trying to bring some life back into it here. But what do you think about that, and just the way that the NBA, from a viewer standpoint, has been so far this year? Just the I don't want to say structure of the league, but the landscape of the league overall.
I think the NBA pissed away the inheritance that was given to them by Magic, Bird, Dr. J, and Jordan. And that inheritance was a place where they had made basketball be above baseball in the national conscience.
Yeah, it's been like, I mean.
So it's football. And this is the thing. I'm a child. I'm an 80s baby. It was baseball, NFL, practically hockey and basketball were tied. You may not believe that, but there was a time. Then that was it, really, if we're being honest. And since I grew up during the 80s and I saw the transition, and it became football went 1, then baseball went 2, and then basketball was still slowly eking away from hockey. And then by the time the 90s came, basketball had kind of supplanted baseball. And then baseball tried to it bastardized the game, and it fell off a cliff after that. No one wants to be honest about that. The NBA did not learn the lessons of Major League Baseball. And Major League Baseball lessons, and this is something I'm a historian, is something historians love history, and we cherish it. When baseball allowed itself to juice the balls and have 5 guys come in and shatter a record, home run record that stood the test of time.
McGuire.
It's crazy. I mean, you had guys out there that we can't even name that hit 50 home runs. I mean,
how about Lenny Dykstra back with
Andres Galarraga was all of a sudden a 50 home run smacker. Rafael Palmeiro, a guy that was a great hitter, but talking about 28, 30, he was hitting 50 plus. Like, it just became a joke. And then you see 60, so it was Roger Maris 62, and then it was like, wait a minute, now it's 3 guys and they're not just beating it by like 63. They're in the 70s. So what I'm saying is that's what we've seen with the NBA. They made the numbers where now you're seeing guys drop 70 points a game. We just saw Bam drop 80, 83. And at the end of the day, what basketball has done is it's cut some corners to make the offense pop. And
I couldn't agree more.
Now people don't care what happens because it's like, oh yeah, somebody scored 70, who gives a damn? Like, we grew up at a time when somebody dropped 70, we're like, yo, I gotta watch this. This is crazy.
Like TiVo, man.
People would call you up like, yo, he's going crazy, man. He's got
50,
60
right? already. Yeah, 50,
yeah, he's got 50 or 60. You'd be like, what? Let me turn it in. Now when I hear a guy going crazy, it's like, okay, it's gonna happen again. I mean, dude, the guys that are dropping 70 points a game, they're not like Bam. Again, respect to what Bam did. Yeah. But Bam is not a guy that name has a reverence that's attached to Wilt and Kobe. I'm sorry. It's just, if we're being honest, we're not. And a lot of you fans out there who think Bam is now that guy, stop it. Y'all had Carl Sweetness Towns over this man. Y'all had your centers go Jokic, Embiid, Karl Anthony Towns, and then maybe Bam. Don't tell me you now have Bam third. Stop it. That's not true. I've been around here for a while. You didn't. So at the end of the day, the problem with basketball is that we don't care now because we know we're going to see some nonsense. We know that guys aren't invested into this until the playoffs come. And we know that, like again, respectfully, again, another, again, I'm not bashing people when I say this, but like the fact that LeBron James is now almost 50 and he's still playing in the league and no one's thought to piss test this guy? Like, this guy's just out here at 50 years old. I mean, dude, I remember when Kareem and Moses were in their 40s. They looked like they were in their 60s out there. You know what I mean? They were like, it was like, dog, like, somebody got to put these guys out. I mean, this dude's still running around and jumping like he's 20 years old. Now, you can think he's the greatest athlete of all time. That's cool. But, dude, I saw the greatest leaper and jumper. His name was Vince Carter. And the other guy was Dominique Wilkins. And the other guy was Michael Jordan. And I'm telling you right now, respectfully, LeBron ain't on those tier of leapers. But this is what I'm seeing him do, these dunks at 40 plus years old, and I'm supposed to believe this is natty, that this is natural? And I get it. We're in an era where a lot of guys are taking supplements and it's hard for guys to keep up with it and everything. But like, if we don't start asking these questions, like Stephen, like they went to the Olympics and Stephen Curry got piss tested. LeBron doesn't get piss tested? They said Bam was drug tested. So people are getting drug tested, but yet certain people just keep avoiding the drug test. It's like, I don't understand this. So at the end of the day, again, I'm not saying this to dismiss the players in their era. I'm just simply saying that what we're seeing it looks manufactured. It doesn't look real. And thus, that's why people aren't invested. And I got news for people. We're going to see baseball come back. And I think baseball is going to go above basketball again. I really think so.
We love them. And like I said, both of us, big fans of both. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just, again, the days long. Watching those Warriors Cavaliers series, even 2016, 2017. Sure. I mean, I didn't miss a minute of those playoff runs and stuff like that. And if you think back just statistically, 24, 25, ratings decreased by 2 to 19%.
Yeah.
Depending on the network. And a part of this is, we talked about the officials and the way the game has trended in terms of the way it's being officiated. Dennis, we have a clip here. I mean, just as an example, as you check out this one here from Giannis, but there is the foul calls especially. Check out some of this is a travel they didn't call. I mean, you can do whatever you want. You can run up and down the floor in the NBA now if you so willingly choose to do so. And again, you can't as a defender, you can't pretty much do anything.
No.
I mean, you can't touch it. I mean, we talked about the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and how many free throws he's able to get to. I mean, it's become a national, news story each year and year out about the MVP of the league, whether he's foul baiting. Well, I'll tell you what, you couldn't foul bait in the 80s or the 90s. So we'll see what happens. I hope and do you see like that maybe a change coming, or is that something we're never going to get?
No.
With them just saying, hey, let's go back. Let's flip the switch back to what we knew.
Adam Silver does not have, for some reason, he's infatuated with Europe. He thinks the Europeans are going to take this game and they're going to accept it. And I got news for Adam Silver. I watch EuroLeague all year round. Like I'm watching overseas games all the time because I have to because of what I do. They're not going to accept this game. They don't like the way that we play. They play like we used to play in the 90s. They don't this era of like free movement and guys not getting knocked off their spot. There's a reason why Luka at Real Madrid was only averaging 16 points a game, and he's in the NBA, he's averaging 30 now. Like, there's a reason, the spacing and everything else. And I'll say this, because again, this is the other thing that people do. Anytime people from my era start talking about the new era, you always have these weird fans that go, you're just hating. Here's the truth, bro. Are today's players more skilled? Absolutely. But I'll tell you this, they're more skilled. But I'm going to tell you this right now. The defensive players of this era are the most handicapped players of any era in professional basketball. They can't push. They can't bump. They can't hold.
It's ridiculous.
They can't do anything other than have their hands like this and maybe think about how they can maybe anticipate what they're going to do. And the offensive player has all the advantages that no offensive player has ever had on top of the advanced skill. So then it's like, yeah, okay, like this is what we expect to see. And look, we're just going to see more performances of guys hitting 60, 70 points a game. And we're not going to care. And that's what's going to happen.
And obviously the Thunder, the cream of the crop now,
sure.
Right? I mean, they are the verge of a dynasty, if you will.
I would say so.
They've got. And not only that, but they still lead the league in picks. I mean, they are set up I mean, Sam Presti could not, maybe done the best job in NBA. I can't think of a team that's been set up better than what they have going forward.
Yeah.
And obviously now you got Wembanyama in San Antonio. So the Thunder, a team that really didn't get a lot of love since Durant and Westbrook have been there, now being, one of the main talking points about the NBA, Wembanyama with the Spurs. Do you think the new stars have a little bit to do with the declining rate, or do you think that maybe, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't obviously what a Kobe or LeBron was in terms of, not even on the court, just in terms of starship and obviously –
No.
I just don't know how to, if I'm doing a good job of explaining it, but just the stars that we have in today's NBA.
No, I think the stars of today's NBA, in particular the younger guys, I think they're trying to take the game back to an era that were, like, I think guys like Anthony Edwards are trying to bring back that feeling of the 90s where they're going out there and they want those matchups. They want the smoke. I think that's the era of, I think the younger guys are actually trying to bring it back. If I'm being honest, and again, I'm not hating, I think the 30, 35, 38-year-old guys are the ones that are, like, hurting the product. I don't think it's the younger guys. The younger guys, they want all the smoke. They want to go after you, and they want you to know that they're going after you. So I don't think it's the younger guys. But I just think at the end of the day, like, the biggest issue is you gotta win. To have a winning championship team, you have to win at the draft. And you have to win in free agency. And if you don't do both of those, Sam Hinkie, you don't have a championship team. And that's what Sam Presti's done. He won with the draft picks, and he won with the trade to get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over there. So he wins, and that's what we're seeing.
And again, I hate to bring this back to the Sixers. No Paul George, Embiid dealing with some injuries. It maybe seemed like at the beginning of the year there was a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, maybe. And Embiid now seems to be re-injured a little bit. We talked about Paul George. Maxey's now injured a little bit. The trade for Jared McCain continues to look a little bit worse, I think, all the time here with Daryl Morey. So what do you think about the state of the Sixers as we progress here? So maybe, again, towards the back end of the East coming in, thought they might have a little bit of a shot, but those chances, I think, are dampening by the day.
I'm going to say this, and I'll take all the heat for it. Can somebody explain to me what Daryl Morey does that's so great? I just don't. I don't see it, bro.
Sound like my dad.
I don't see it. I don't see it, bro. I just don't see it.
I was an advocate. I stuck up, and again, I think the draft is where I really, was what led me to say the last couple of years. The drafting of Tyrese Maxey at 20, great draft pick there. McCain, same thing. A little bit later on, a mid-range first-round pick that seemed to hit big time. Yeah. So to me, it was. The way he was drafting, I can at least point to that part of it.
Sure.
But not if you're going to trade those guys to get nothing back in return. So again, when you think about it, I'm not really sure. I used to be an advocate. I stuck up for Daryl Morey, but I'm not having myself with a lot of ground to stand on here as of late. And I would have done the same thing. You think about after they lost that Game 7 to the Boston Celtics and what James Harden did in that series, had some big games, but was absent for a few of them. And a lot of people thought maybe James Harden would be done after that. I was close on the border. I was like, hey, I don't know if we should bring him back either. We'll see what happens. But the way that whole thing unfolded and the way that James Harden said he was told one thing or whatever, obviously that didn't sit well with him, and I'm sure not a lot of other NBA players. And then to let him walk, he's been pretty good since he's left, huh? I mean, still, I think they would have been a better team if he was still. I mean, that's an easy, crazy thing to point to, but it's just the little things like that. Trading Jared McCain, Nick Nurse, who I was in favor of. We'll see how that goes going forward, but they haven't done anything since Nick Nurse's arrival. Since the arrival of some of these other guys, Paul George, like I said, there's not a lot of bright things to point to with the Sixer basketball here in the last couple of years.
No, I will always give Sam Hinkie, I will always give Daryl Morey credit on what he's built. But I'm also going to give him credit on what he's built. And what he's built was...
Got to go both ways.
Yeah, got to go both ways. Listen, I give you... Yeah, Tyrese Maxey was a great pick. By the way, you weren't the only one that had him in the top 15, Daryl. Like, there are a lot of people that had him in the top 15. That was a failure of your peers. I give you full credit for getting him where you did. Full credit. You had some other picks there that worked out. Great. But when you... Again, people don't like to hear this. Joel Embiid, it might be time to move away from Joel Embiid. You find nobody who is a bigger fan of Joel Embiid than me. I think at his best, I think he can give Jokic a run for his money. I know he gives Jokic a run for his money.
Still wouldn't play in Denver this year, though.
Correct. So when I see that kind of stuff, and I know his health issues. I just think if you're not going to trade him now, when are you going to trade him? Are you going to trade him when he's absolutely
I don't know if they
bottom of the barrel?
Right? I mean, that's it. It's either now or never. I mean,
Correct.
Next year or never. I just don't know if that's going to be something that's on the table. At least if you're looking to get a big return back.
They don't get any return.
And
back.
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if we're going to get there. I mean, you think about the MVP season, right?
Yeah.
And what it was a few years ago, how much he wanted to play, to battle through those injuries, to play however many games
Sure.
he played that year, and kind of hurt him a little bit down the stretch and into the playoffs, and then he goes and plays in the Olympics, and after that he hasn't been the same player.
No.
Which is, again, a little bit of a shame, but do you think all that extra basketball, we talk about the MVP, and obviously that season didn't end the way we wanted, but he played all those games down the stretch in the Olympics, and that might have cooked him a little bit.
No, it definitely cooks big men. I mean, I think that's the issue that the Spurs are going to have to deal with Wembanyama.
I'm interested to see how that plays out. I mean, because he
Yeah.
is what we thought he was going to be.
Sure.
Right? I mean, a complete game changer.
For sure.
And it's very, like I said, I would have loved to have him play, when LeBron was in his prime, or, that would have been so much fun to watch, and that's wishful thinking. But, I mean, is he it? How many Spurs and Thunder. I do love that part of what we're seeing now in the NBA. We needed some type of rivalry thing going on.
Yep.
So just, from a fan perspective, which way you lean there in terms of not who you're picking to win, but who do you root for when the Spurs and the Thunder go out?
I root for the Spurs.
You root for the Spurs.
I'm a big Victor fan, but
Okay.
I do worry about Victor's long-term health, because I think anytime you have big men and they played all these international competitions, which is what France is going to push with Victor, I worry, because I've seen it happen with Yao Ming. I've seen it happen with Zydrunas Ilgauskas. When big men suffer injuries, it's so hard to get them back to where they were pre-injury, especially lower extremities, whether it's feet, whether it's ankle, whatever it is. Below the belt, they struggle. I mean, look at Bill Walton. His career was, basically destroyed because of foot injuries. So I worry anytime. And when you're that big and you're playing basketball, it's high stress on your body. And I do worry that Victor, because of his full plate that he has for France and these international competitions, I do worry about his long-term health.
Something to be worried about for sure. We'll see if it continues, because again, if these two meet in the Western Conference Final, it's going to be fireworks.
It's going to be fireworks
there in the West. Maybe then we'll watch. Maybe then we'll tune in there.
Yeah, maybe
with those two teams
for sure.
But again, we'll see what happens with the NBA. I mean, like we talked about, something that we used to watch each and every day, and hopefully we get back to that point. But baseball is here, and I tell you what, they are battling, as Matthew said, to see maybe baseball could overtake it.
I don't think it's crazy.
Definitely not crazy. Let's end a little bit with some NFL stuff here. Just Kyler Murray signs with the Vikings.
Trash.
We haven't gotten your opinion. Oh, trash, all right. I mean, Jason, we're fans of that. We haven't gotten your opinion yet on the 49ers and the state, because we had the Super Bowl. You were unable to make the first show back.
For sure.
But here we go. NFL, Seattle Seahawks, Super Bowl champions, your NFC West with you guys, and being the Niners, the Rams, and the Seahawks seems to be a pretty good division you got there out west. You guys able to add Mike Evans to them this year. How do you think about the 49ers going into next year? Your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks and maybe what they've got going forward?
I'm not a fan of the signing of Mike Evans, just because of the simple fact that I think it'll be great near the red zone because of his height and his ability to be a jump ball contested catch specialist. I thing with Mike Evans is he's a home run guy, and Brock Purdy doesn't have a home run arm, so I'm kind of worried about that. If I got to be honest, I'm worried about the offensive line more than anything. I mean, I think I've talked about this ad nauseum. The offensive line has been a horrific situation that the 49ers just refuse to fix, and because of that, I think it severely caps them from ever reaching anything at the next level. I think every time they've had problems in this era, it's been because of offensive line play, and it's been because of bad defense or defense that can't keep guys off the field.
That was last year. That defense
For
was
sure.
brutal. And again, they haven't even been average defense. Who knows
No.
what kind of happens next year? They still are able to beat the Eagles in the playoffs.
They did
We'll see
beat
if
the
that
Eagles.
changes a little bit. But I do want to get your opinion. It's something we haven't had a chance to ask you yet. We talked about it when it broke. We were live on the air when this happened originally. The Matt Crosby situation.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Ravens doctors finding something that they didn't like necessarily in the physical while he was there.
I don't believe that.
Crosby came out and said that things were weird when he first arrived. He said the GM didn't talk to him. Things like that. It was a little off-putting. And then they come out, they nixed the trade. Obviously, say something there's wrong with the knee. Other doctors have come out and said, hey, you should have known this. It's nothing different than what anybody else would have thought.
Yeah.
Maybe that's true. Maybe it's not true. We don't know. We haven't seen it. They got a second opinion from the Dallas Cowboys doctor, who is among one of the best in the country, has done all the surgeries on Neighbors and all the big guys. He said that it was a little concerning. Well, so believe who you want, etc. But Max Crosby will not be heading to the Baltimore Ravens, 2 first-round picks back to the Raiders. So, Matthew, again, you talk about the ethics of all this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, going into free agency was that Monday. They make the trade that Friday night, so 2 and 3 days before the start of NFL free agency. So you make that move thinking, one, you're getting 2 first-round picks, one of them being this year, so one of them being 14th overall in the upcoming draft. So when you're going into free agency and you have your checklist or whatever, you say, hey, we have the 14th pick in the draft, with this. We don't have Max Crosby, and now we have $110 million to work with in free agency. Crosby's $30 million a year is now off our books.
Right.
I mean, it completely changes what you're doing in free agency and the way you go about doing certain things. They go and they make all these big signings. They spend that close to $110 million. They bring in a lot of defense. They give the big contract to Tyler Linderbaum, making him the highest paid interior offensive lineman of all time, et cetera. And then, like I said, then you look at those draft picks at 14. Hey, I still have that 14th pick to assess some other needs, right?
Sure.
Well, then they find out Monday that is no longer the case. The trade has been nixed. Everything's going back to where it came from. So now if you were the Raiders, you had just spent all this money in free agency. You're trying to plug certain needs that you thought you had. And now, one, you get the $30 million back on your book. And number two, you have Max Crosby, and you do not have those 2 first-round picks. So that was just kind of me breaking down everything for you there. But what stands out to you about this situation? And which side do you lean on? I want to get your overall opinion, because I think this whole thing was absolutely insane.
I think the Ravens are playing dirty pool. I mean, look, I respect the hustle. But you're not going to tell me that you just came to this conclusion that Max Crosby had an issue that you didn't see. I think what happened is, I think you brought him in, and I think during that period of agreeing to the trade and bringing him in, I think the agent for Trey Hendrickson came to you and you said, oh, I like that better. And
well, we talked about on the show, right? They were slipped. The money was coming down. We had thought Henderson might have signed already for more money.
Sure.
We were wondering why he hasn't been signed yet. And I think the Ravens maybe were wondering the same thing. I think you're right.
I think that's what I was saying. I think it's dirty pool. And look, hats off to the Ravens. That's some ones. They pull one over there. But, I've heard the Eagles talk about getting Max Crosby. I don't know if I would take Max Crosby, even on my team. And I'm a big fan of Max Crosby when he's healthy. The problem is he hasn't been that for a while. His body is definitely broken down a little bit. I think at his best, when he's fully healthy, I think he's better than even Joey Bosa, who I think is I don't think Joey Bosa is that great, but he's a top 10 guy for most people. Some people even put him in the top 5, but he's above him to me. So at the end of the day, I think Max Crosby got the raw end of the deal. I think the Raiders got the raw end of the deal, but I think what happened was Trey Henderson's agent or representation or whoever, a little birdie came to the Ravens and said, hey, he likes it over there. And they said, you know what, let's say we don't like this knee and be going.
So the contract, I think a little bit better in terms of
definitely better for them.
Better for them.
And you got a younger player.
And then you get your 2 first-round picks back.
Correct. Yep.
So
dirty.
It is a little dirty. It was a little dirty, at least to me. Would it affect, again, if I'm a team, I don't know if I would. People are saying it won't affect negotiations with the Ravens going forward. But I think some teams can't be happy about seeing. I tell you who won't make a deal with them again is the Raiders anytime soon.
Oh, no. Raiders aren't making no deals with them.
I don't know how we ever stop this going forward, but I don't know if you're a team and to have somebody go back on a deal like that. And again, we've seen it happen in the past. It is in their rights, right, for a physical, whatever. It is allowed. Don't get me wrong, but to do it right on the eve of free agency and to pretty much have the Raiders go out and do all they needed to. And luckily for the Raiders, they had enough money to where it won't affect them. There could have been an instance where if that ends up coming back and that contract doesn't fit the books, where they're going to have to then adjust free agent, which I don't know how that would have worked. Telling the guy, hey, we're sorry, we wanted to sign you and we thought we could, but now we can't.
Yeah.
Luckily for them, that didn't work out that way. But I just wanted to get your opinion on that. I thought that was a very interesting thing with Baltimore. And again, I don't know. I wouldn't make a deal with them.
No.
If we were going anytime soon there. But the NFL draft now a little bit less than a month away. We'll be back with our draft show in a approximately 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
And then NBA draft as we get into June as well.
Yep.
Matthew going to lead the way there. So a lot to get to as we progress. Next Tuesday, we are going to be back. We'll have kind of a recap of week 1 of MLB baseball, what the Phillies look like there through their first home weekend series. Obviously going to have to recap the main part of the show, going to be the Sweet 16. We're going to break down the Elite 8 matchups and some of those results from the Sweet 16. We'll obviously touch on some other NFL news and stuff as we get closer to the draft and the regular season training camp. It's crazy again. Time is going to fly once more as we get back in. If I miss football already here, we didn't get a chance to talk about it too much here this year, so we're going through a little withdrawal. But final thoughts here, 8:43. We got a late start on a Tuesday. Again, a special thanks. Wait a minute. Dennis's question of the week. We haven't even got there yet. We got to get it. So let's have Dennis, if he has it, flash it up. I also want to, we didn't get a chance to see the Tyler Tanner half-court shot. I wish that we could get a load of that. But Dennis, if you have a question, I know we kind of prolonged it a little bit here. We're making Dennis stay late on a Tuesday, so we apologize. But Dennis, you have one for us? Which school is the lowest seed ever to win the men's NCAA tournament? Villanova, 1985. Is that it now? Is that still it? Was it 85? I
think it might be NC State.
Oh, NC State high. Well, Villanova was 8 or 9. What was NC State?
I want to say they were at 10.
And 10. Do we each get a? That's a tough one. Do we each get a guess, right? Or do we have to come up with one together? Villanova or NC State?
You go with Villanova. I'm going to go NC State.
Yeah, let's do that. We each get one, Dennis. Let us have it. Hey, there we go. We got one. Nobody 85. There we go.
Okay.
On the board, Dennis. See, we're back with a vengeance
there we go.
On this new season. Do we have a topic of discussion, or are we on to final thoughts? Final thoughts, Matthew, here we go. I know you got something good.
I do.
For everybody here at home, camera 3.
And it's going to piss the Philadelphia Eagle fans off.
Oh, great. I'm glad I led you into this one then.
But I got a question. So I saw everybody come out on social media for Jalen Hurts' throw. And I'm already seeing the slander about Jalen Hurts.
From defender to attacker. Is that where we're going?
No. Everybody's piling on Jalen Hurts. I've listened to everybody on WIP. I've listened to everybody on all these other places. They're all talking about Jalen Hurts. And I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts doesn't have any, and I mean, I'm not saying this at all. He certainly is going to be under the microscope this year. But there's one person that seems to continue to evade criticisms. And I can't figure it out why so many people just refuse.
It's a do or die year
to hold this man accountable.
A+ in the ratings.
So the person I'm talking about is Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, I know.
So here's the question I have for the Eagle fans out here who tell me about his record, tell me about he won a Super Bowl and all these other weird things.
A+ on the report card.
So I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about Mike McCarthy?
Oh, no.
He has a Super Bowl. All of a sudden, that Super Bowl don't mean much, does it? Because I ain't met an Eagle fan yet that tells me Mike McCarthy's a great coach.
Yeah,
I ain't met that fan yet.
I would say good. I am not a fan of
Mike And I'm going to tell you this right now. Mike McCarthy's better coach than Nick Sirianni. No one wants to be honest about that, but that's the truth of the matter. And let me tell you something else about Mr. Nick Sirianni. Mm-hmm. Explain to me this, folks. How can the guy who's the head coach of the team, when they get to the Super Bowl, he gets it on the tally list. I won the Super Bowl. I won it. I'm the guy. When they don't get to the Super Bowl, it's the OC's fault. When they get another change of an OC, it's the OC's fault. Wait a minute. So it's the OC's fault when they don't win. It's not the OC's credit when they do win. It's his credit. So I never heard anybody come out and say that Kellen Moore was the reason why the Eagles won the championship.
Coach, you got a head coach.
But yet, when the OC doesn't, when he loses, it's the OC's fault.
He's the head coach of the Saints.
Explain it to me. I would love to understand what that logic is, because it don't make sense.
It's funny. We don't have enough time tonight for me to explain it to you.
Don't make sense.
But next week, maybe we'll have a similar discussion.
Just asking questions.
And if we are going to have this discussion next week, I really hope Jason McCall is not in the building.
Hey, Howie.
To join in on this conversation.
Hey, Howie, drop that 0 and get a hero, man, because that guy is pissing away what you've built. And you guys are going to lie And I know.
Cheat and steal Eddie Guerrero.
And I know, Jeffrey Lurie, you like a robot that says yes, sir, and no, sir. I know that's why you got Nick Sirianni in the building, because he's not going to rock the boat. He's going to get you coffee when you tell him to get him coffee, and he's going to cough when you tell him to cough, and he's going to jump when you tell him to jump. I get it. That's why you like Nick Sirianni. But you guys have pissed away a dynasty for this guy who sucks. And this guy who every time they lose, it's because of the OC. But when they win, it's because of him. Doesn't make sense to me, folks. Something don't make sense. And if you really think about it, right, I just said right there, you know it don't make sense.
Two things I will say. I like Kyle Shanahan, so I can't badmouth your coach the way that you badmouth my coach. I will say that.
That's because my guy can draw up a play.
I think Shanahan's good. We'll see what happens now.
He can draw up a play.
If they, the defense can get back going.
I tell you this, I've never had Kyle Shanahan say, "Got to get OC."
Well, no, that's something you'll never hear him say. But
never heard him say we lost because of the DC.
I know we're supposed to close out here, Dennis. I apologize, but I got to ask one more question here.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown discussions, right? I mean, it's all the talk. It's all the Eagles fans have been talking about here for weeks and weeks.
Who did that fall on? Nick Sirianni. So this guy don't do the offense.
He said they were good.
He don't do the defense. What's this guy do other than stand with Big Dom and make dumbass faces on the sidelines?
A+ by the players. Players voted A+ head coach. That doesn't happen to everybody. That's a rarity.
Who voted on A+?
The players did. The vote. They do every year. They do a final vote at the end of the year. Every team does votes on all kinds of
so
stuff.
So the Eagles fans voted?
No, the players. They gave him an A+. A.J. Brown though, does he stay? Does he go? What should the Eagles do? For me, we're in win now mode. I don't see why unless he is knocking, saying he wants to leave, which could be the fact. And that's the case, get him out. But I think I don't think he has a problem. I mean, if he's okay, I think he stays. I don't think there's a point in trading him. Well, that's the I'm saying. If he wants to, there's a difference between I don't know, maybe I want to go or get me out of here. If it's get me out of here, get him out of here. Who did they just hire this year?
Exactly.
No. I just Sean Mannion. Excuse me.
Ain't run. And what's he running?
He's going to run a lot of what we saw in Green Bay last year.
West Coast.
They're going to want to run the ball more. You have a little play action. Maybe use a little bit more under center.
West Coast.
So you think Patriots?
I don't think, and I'm saying this respectfully, I'm not bashing Jalen Hurts when I say this. I'm actually making a commentary on A.J. Brown. I think A.J. Brown has it in his mind that he's a Hall of Fame wide R. I think he feels that he has to achieve certain numbers, because if we're being honest, the test for a wide R in the Hall of Fame is massive. You could wait decades, depending on who you are. I mean, we just saw Drew Pearson get in there 30 years, 40 years later, so who knows? But I think he's got in his mind certain numbers he has to hit, and he thinks that he has the body to get those numbers. And he feels, whether he likes it or not, that he's not in an offense that's going to give him those numbers. I'm saying this to be fully transparent here. Yeah. If I was A.J. Brown, I would stay because I get titles. But some guys, after they get the title, they want the numbers.
But that's the thing to me is obviously coming over to the Titans, he had just over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns a season.
Sure.
And everybody thought he was great. That was with Tannehill, Mike Vrabel, who was also the head coach of New England now. So. Comes to the Eagles, he puts up 1,500-yard seasons and 7-9 touchdowns. I mean, those are huge numbers.
First 2 years, though.
The last couple of years. Not this year, obviously being a little bit of a difference maker there, but just the years that, they had a experienced offensive coordinator. But we'll see what happens. Again, I'm with you. I think you should stay. But here's the deal, Matthew. They can't, and again, the fans should understand this. If they don't, then they're doing something wrong. Can't trade him before June 1st anyway. You just can't. You're going to take a $43 million dead cap hit. That's just something that is not even in Howie's mind. That's something that will not happen.
I agree.
So everybody's kind of saying, we haven't traded him yet. Maybe they're going to keep him. That doesn't mean anything. You have to find out by June 1st. Again, I don't expect him to be traded on the draft night just because, again, before June 1st. So June 1st or June 2nd is the day we're looking to see if he gets dealt. I wouldn't deal him. I know you said you wouldn't deal him. We're in win now mode. Let's go try to win another Super Bowl. But we'll see what happens. If he is, again, banging at the door that he wants to get out of town and he is adamant about it, I say you got to get rid of him. So we'll see.
All right, last question I got for you, though.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Jalen Carter?
I like Jalen Carter. I don't think that whole trade rumors kind of caught me a little bit off guard too. I don't see the issue. I don't understand. I don't know where that came from.
I don't know if that's a figment of imagination or.
I think that's absolutely insane. I wouldn't even entertain offers for.
I don't know. I was blown by. I was like, what?
Yeah, I don't know if that's like fans that are other fans of other teams trying to stir up the pot a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, but I will say this, and this is the precarious situation that Howie finds himself in. Regardless of what you feel about Jalen Carter, if you re-sign him, he's going to get a deal that's probably going to set the market just about.
He'll be up there, yeah.
You already set the market with Jordan Davis, who I would think the money you gave him.
And Cooper DeJean might do something similar.
Cooper
Quinyon
DeJean.
Mitchell.
And
Your boy
so my
Quinyon
question is
Mitchell.
this. This is my question. At some point, and this is the Jalen Hurts discussion that no one likes to have.
Got to take a pay cut?
Huh?
You think you need him to take a pay cut?
No. I think
I would hope so that he does.
He's not going to take a pay cut.
Those days are over.
I think that Jalen Hurts, we're going to find out if he's a guy or if he's not a guy, because what's going to start to happen, it's the only thing that makes sense. They're going to have to start pulling guys away from him. And he's going to have to then start winning with the basket not loaded full of talent. In other words, the years of him having $20 million left tackles, $20 million guards.
Could be Lane Johnson's final year also. It could be Johnson and Dickerson's final year. Those are two all-pro guys.
I got to be honest with you. Dickerson, and I'm saying this not as a hater. I'm saying this as just long-term health.
Well, he's banged up. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Dickerson, he's got to make those decisions, man. And Jordan Mailata.
That's a shame, too.
It is a shame. He's so good. He's so good. He's so good. I hope he gets healthy.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I mean, he dealt with that out of Alabama, and that was the reason he slipped to the second round.
Yep.
He would have been a first-round pick had it been for the injuries. And fortunately, through the early part of his career, didn't have too many, but now they're starting to show up.
And Cam Jurgens and Mailata got to wake up this year.
Mailata, yeah, Mailata, I think will be. I don't know about Jurgens. Seems. I don't know if it was just the recipe for success last year, being with those guys. Everything went so smooth. Becton at guard, et cetera. But this year, Jurgens, obviously not as great as we would have hoped to be. That offensive line was struggling a little bit there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot to get to here, and again, thanks for coming in. A little bit late for us today. So, Dennis, though, for Matthew and myself, we will be back again next Tuesday. We already gave you the drill, what we're going to be referring to and talking about then. Jason, hopefully you'll be back with us. So that'll do it for us. Thanks for tuning in to DETV Sports. Enjoy the Sweet 16.